The Switch is out. We've discussed the system at length. We've talked about the games, but how do we feel? How did it live up to our expectations? Did it match the hype we've had for the last couple of years, really, if you travel back to the days of the NX? What's up, everybody? It's Zach from Switch Force. I've got Gabe and Jake, and today we're talking about if the Switch lived up to its hype. Now that we've had it in our hands for 5 days, now that we have played all the launch games...
Well, some of us have had it for longer than 5 days.
That is true. But now that, the general populace has had it for 5 days, now that we've all had it for 5 days, now that we, get to play it at home, it's become a daily part of our life, and it's no longer a surprise. It's more just a part of the routine. I think it's good to look back and say, did this live up to the hype? Did this launch? Did the system itself? Did the features it has? Did the lineup? Did it live up to the hype? Given all the predictions, all the rumors, all the hypothesis, all the launch preparations in terms of videos, in terms of events, did this Nintendo Switch release live up to the hype for all three of us?
I do a pretty good job of maintaining my hype. More than anything, I was just excited for Zelda, and I'm playing hours of that every single night in bed. So automatically my hype was reached. I never expected this to be like the end all be all. Like people keep calling this the gamer's dream. That's not what it is for me. For me, it's a secondary console. I play on PC first.
Which is not a console.
No, it's not a console. But it's never been my platform of choice.
Okay.
So I love it. The Switch is great. Zelda every night so far.
Has Zelda lived up to the hype?
Absolutely. Zelda is phenomenal. I love that game so much.
So for you, both platform and its main game have exceeded your expectations? Or met them?
They met them, but I will tell you what exceeded my expectations. Fast RMX, Snipper Clips, those two exceeded my expectations. I always knew I was going to like Snipper Clips because we played it at events and it was a really good time. But I didn't expect to love it as much as I do. I love that game. Mm-hmm. I think it's great. I can't wait to do more worlds with different people. So I would say maybe the smaller games that I didn't have too much excitement for kind of quote-unquote blew me away a little bit. But maybe the fact that the lineup is so small kind of was a little bit of a letdown, even though there is a lot of stuff to play. You can still play Blaster Master. You can play Disgaea 5. You can play all types of stuff, really. Mm-hmm. But right now, I'm entrenched in Zelda. That's where I'm at. The console itself is great. The battery life, I'm getting about 3 hours with Zelda. I don't know if it's my brightness settings or what, but I'm pretty good on that.
What about form factor controllers? This hybrid is a new idea. So has that? We always talked about for the past couple of months, how is it going to fit in our lives? We can't really predict. How are you finding the hybrid idea? How is it panning out for your specific life and your routine?
Well, I'm flying home soon, so I'm excited to play on the plane. I'll take this thing with me to the bathroom, like everyone does. Mm-hmm. It's good. It's really, really good. The console itself, I'm actually really happy with the build quality. We made a video about this, but we've been lucky enough that we don't have very many problems, other than Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is a problem for sure. But I'm not experiencing any scratches. I'm not experiencing any problem with the Joy-Con. I love the grip. I'm getting the only thing that I don't like as much as I thought I would was playing with the Joy-Con without the grip.
Split Joy-Cons?
Yeah, I don't like that. I can't, for some reason it feels weird.
Okay.
I'm not used to that quite yet. But the console itself, I'm really happy with. The UI is great. The eShop, when it works, is great. The eShop works all the time.
Yeah, it's just the Wi-Fi connection that is an issue.
Yeah.
Okay, so met in some of the secondary stuff exceeded, but for the most part, you are perfectly content and pleased with how things shaped up.
Yes, zero regrets about the Switch whatsoever. I'm excited. I think that it's gonna legitimately be a success for Nintendo.
And price-wise, you feel like it was a worthy price to pay. You feel like $360 for Zelda and $70 for the Pro. That was a worthwhile purchase.
I have a Pro controller over there, I guess, but I haven't used it very much. I should, but once I'm back home, I'm not home. That's a thing.
Yeah.
So right now I'm in total portable only mode.
Okay.
So I play dock when we're recording stuff, but for the most part, my experience has been the Switch as a handheld device that's portable. And once I'm home, that'll change. But for now, until whenever I get back home, that's what it is for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think it's really interesting because again, it's one thing to like see the reviews, it's one thing to look at the Metacritic of Zelda, but it's a totally another thing when you're thinking about your expectations and how it lived up to that. Because I think for me, this is one of, if not the most excited and hyped I've been for a console. I think back to like the most recent like PlayStation 4, Xbox One. I was very excited for them, but I knew like at the end of the day, it was a beefed up Xbox 360 and a beefed up PlayStation 3. Even the Wii U, like I was very excited for Zombie U and that whole new idea of a tablet, a gamepad. But it was a beefed up Wii, and I was pretty darn excited for the Wii, but not in the same way that I was the Switch. I feel like I had the most anticipatory hype and excitement and enthusiasm about this system probably since the GameCube.
Well, we started a channel about the Switch, so
We did. We had a lot of hype.
Yeah.
I just think back to, I'm trying to go back to like the 360 launch, the PlayStation 3 launch. To me, like the ones that I was most excited for throughout my life would be the Game Boy Advance, the GameCube, and the Switch. Interestingly, and not surprisingly, they're all Nintendo consoles. But I think the new idea here is what really launched this kind of into that hype stratosphere for me. Jake, what about you? How did you, where were you beforehand and where are you now in terms of having and then meeting expectations?
I've kind of taken a different approach. Like I tried not to get like super overly hyped beforehand. I kind of just try to maintain like a steady flow. And I feel like the system, because of all the versatility and the ways you can play it and the different controls and the games that will be coming out, kind of like how Nintendo is taking the approach of having games supporting the lineup throughout the entire year. I'm kind of taking that approach with my excitement level and
only giving a little bit of it out per month.
Right. And like just like not like getting myself like so like worked up over it and just
Okay.
like letting it ride out and seeing how I'm playing it. And I think after this week, like Gabe said, like after this week of like having like trying to pump out videos and like playing it in like awkward settings and things like that, it'll be interesting to see. But I'm super happy with it. There's literally no control setup that I dislike in any way. The only thing that's frustrating me right now is the Wi-Fi, because if I didn't have you guys' switches around, I would have no Wi-Fi connection, not be able to play online, not be able to download any games or anything, because my Switch, for whatever reason, will not connect to Wi-Fi. So that's disappointing for me, but form factor-wise, love it. Game-wise, everything is a blast. Even like just picking up 1-2 Switch for like 5 minutes is amazing just to experience it. And it's like I don't know, it's like I thought it was gonna be like 2 systems in one, but it's really like 6 or 7 for me. Like there's just so many things you can do. Like it's almost like it's a pick up and play system. It's like a long Gabe hours in bed Zelda system. It's like a handheld system. It's a dock system, and I think that it has a lot of longevity, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like people will think that like, oh, the launch lineup wasn't great or whatever, but I feel like people will get so immersed in Zelda for enough time, and then if they are willing enough to dive into things like Snipperclips or Fast RMX, that will sustain them for a while until the next big game hits. And I feel like there's so many control options, there's so many ways to play, there's so many ways to play with other people that like it will never get old for me, I guess, is the way I look at it. And to be honest, I haven't had time to play Zelda, because it's not that I don't want to, I'm super excited to, I just haven't had, like, I want to set off like an hour or two where I can play straight without having to get interrupted with different things. But even without playing Zelda, I'm super happy with it. So I think that says something, that the biggest game, and I haven't even touched it, and I'm still super pumped. And again, like that longevity thing, I'm in it for the long haul. None of this short stint thing.
That's the weird thing. Like, we're in a weird environment. None of us are in our natural environment here, because all of us, we talk every single day. Yes, we make videos together every day, but we're not all together for like, a week at a time. That doesn't happen very often. So the fact that we're constantly distracting each other, we're not using the Switch the way we normally would.
But it's still amazing. Like,
Yeah,
in every way.
Yes, I would have no one back home that would want to play Fast RMX with me the way Jake does. Jake and I sat there, we played it, make videos on it. So I'm just more excited at how it's going to blend into my regular day-to-day. I now see the potential of it as far as playing with other people, but once I'm back to my solo thing, because that's usually how I play video games, especially because the online is so limited right now on Switch, like, how is that going to go?
Yeah, and for me, I think I have a little bit of a different and maybe more a better idea, because I did have it for an extra week, so it has fit into my more normal routine. And I can say, like, I think out of all of us, I was probably the most excited, probably the most hyped, and so it had a lot to live up to for me. And especially because I played it at events, this is the first time I've had access to a console pre-release, and so I was worried that the events would dilute the excitement or the allure of it, and frankly it didn't. And I think it's because the nature of the hybrid system, the different modes of play, could not be fully taken advantage of at an event. And so therefore I wasn't getting the actual experience until I had it at home. I was getting a taste of it. I was getting a good tutorial of what this is like, what it can be. But it wasn't until I had it at home, I traveled with it. I went through a number of days of like, okay, playing in handheld, playing in TV, back, forth, that I really was like, wow, this is as impressive as I hoped it would be. And this is as well executed of an idea as I expected it to be. And I think that is the real, like, icing on the cake here, is that the execution is so perfect. Zelda is on Wii U and Zelda is on Switch.
I don't know if perfect is a word. It's an issue that for Switches, none of them can connect to the internet.
Yes. There are some definite issues. I'm talking more about the execution of the variety, execution of the flexibility.
Yeah, because I just heard the word perfect. I'm like, no, we can't connect.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue. But in terms of my experience with it, I'm frankly, I think, more impressed than I even expected to be. I think the hype was exceeded, and I think it speaks to, look, we've seen sales numbers a little bit. It's selling great. I feel there is more hype after people play than before, which is great. After people play Zelda, there's more enthusiasm. After people see the Switch, there's more enthusiasm. After people get it in their house, there's more enthusiasm. And that's something that's rare and hard to really, really build or foster. Horizon Zero Dawn, a great example of a game that looked amazing, had a lot of hype, and I feel like the hype was way greater after people got a chance to play it. And I think about, like, if Zelda wasn't there, how much of this hype is me loving Zelda? But I still think that the idea of the system would propel it forward into, like, a level of exceeding and at the very least meeting expectations because of things like you mentioned, like snipper clips, like faster RMX, like just messing around with the quickest UI that Nintendo has made as of late, like, a faster eShop, a region-free access to all the other eShops. The Joy-Con, I think, are brilliant. Because of its uniqueness, it feels so much more fun. It feels so much more like a new era, a new thing. It's not just a power boost. It's not just an iteration. It's a brand new thing, and we haven't really seen that since, like, the DS. I mean, I guess the Wii with motion control. So the Wii and the DS, are sort of two very new ideas, and then here comes the Switch. For me, I like the idea of the Switch better than two screens or better than motion control. I like the idea of hybrid, of portable versus home, much better than I like those two. And frankly, I don't think the lineup's that bad. I know Zelda carries a whole lot of weight. I know it carries the torch very far, and you can argue, oh, it's on Wii U. But the lineup, I really enjoy 1-2 Switch. And, like, let me just go through it real quick. Zelda way exceeded my expectations. I know they kept a lot of it under wraps, and for good reason, but that has blown me away as an addictive and amazing and awe-inspiring game. The Switch itself exceeded expectations. The Joy-Con, liking them way more than I thought I would. The grip, liking it way more than I thought I would. 1-2 Switch, liking it way more than I thought I would.
Not all of us like 1-2 Switch.
Yeah, that's
Let me
fine.
just throw that out there.
For me, snipper clips, probably as much as I thought I would. I'm happy that there's more content than I expected. Bomberman, definitely below expectations. Some of the other smaller titles I need more time with, but to me it's very impressive and speaks to this new, like, ideology of, like, okay, take your gaming with you anywhere at a AAA level. That was what we always talked about being the core like crux of the Switch, and it's panning out. And it has, especially for me, having it for an extra week, traveling with it, taking it to, having it in my own apartment, taking it to events, taking it to airports. Like, it really has lived up as everything it set out to be and everything I hoped it would be.
I've noticed that every time you say AAA on this thing, people say it's not AAA. Zelda is AAA. You are kidding yourself if you think that Zelda is not AAA, because there's been many people that say Zelda's not a AAA title.
Oh, yes, it absolutely is.
It absolutely is.
And there will be other AAA titles outside of Zelda, outside of Mario Odyssey, outside of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. There are definitely things to worry about and things to have concerns with going forward. The Wi-Fi thing is a legitimate issue, and there's some definite third-party support issues. But I love the indie support that we've seen, and I think that going forward, I am now super excited to see what else can take advantage of this system in its unique way, and that for me, it's just been a magical thing because I remember playing the PS4 and being disappointed because the lineup kind of stunk. The launch lineup was not very great. Shadowfall had like a good first half and a real bad second half. Knack is Knack. There wasn't really a whole lot to go on, and at the end of the day, it was better graphics and a more fine-tuned controller and a better, sleeker UI. Here we have something brand new, and I think that is really hard to. It's hard to do something brand new and have it be this successful.
I'm just impressed at like how much I'm already taking for granted how untethered it is. Yeah, you could say like, oh, everybody knows it's like a handheld system, but I'm talking more about the pop and play aspect of it, as opposed to like having a console that's like set up in like a separate room and like you have to go get your brother or friend like, hey, you want to come in this room, sit down and set it up and play a game. Like I can bring it to you or our little brother and just like literally pop it up on the couch and be like, we're playing Fast Remix right here, right now, and just like how much I'm already taking for granted and how like seamlessly it's just effortlessly just kind of like imbued itself into our way of thinking and like way of playing games that like wasn't like you wouldn't really take your DS to someone and be like, we're gonna play this game together.
It's so self-contained too. We have cases, we have grips and pro controllers, but really you take that tablet with the 2 Joy-Con, throw up kickstand, you
have everything you need.
It's that, and it's so just all there, and that has never been had before. And sure, the Vita had like a pretty screen and some good-looking games, but nowhere near this.
Well, and you can do everything with just the Switch and the 2 Joy-Con. Like you can play single player, you can play multiplayer, you can play like it's not just a single thing.
I am curious, a week down the line, 2 weeks down the line, a month down the line, 2 months down the line for you guys and me, does the allure or the fun or dare I say the word gimmick of this versatility wear off? Do you think that'll hit there'll be a point where you're like, you know what, I really don't care that I can bring it anywhere. I really don't care that it has multiple ways of playing.
I don't think so, at least for me, because it doesn't feel forced like the motion control of the Wii did. Like you had to do a lot of things with motion control. This you can play it one way the entire time. Like it's not telling you how you have to play it. It's just allowing you to have many different options. So if a whole week you play it, you don't take it out of the dock and you just play it on your TV the entire time, fine. But then like you're able to pop it out and play with a friend, in tabletop mode. So I guess it's not forcing you to do something, and I think that's what the genius is. It's like it's almost like a sandbox where you're allowed to experiment and play however you want or however fits your day or your week or your month, depending on your schedule or lifestyle. So again, it doesn't feel like they're making me use it. Like it's not like you have to play certain games a certain way or like so you're not pigeonholed into a certain play style.
Nintendo has like kind of assured us that there's going to be stuff coming on the eShop like every week. As long as that happens, I don't see myself like kind of dwelling on how much I like it. I think it'll be a system I use daily or weekly, as long as they keep the games coming. If there's games coming, I'll play them, especially if they're good.
The convenience of it makes it so easy to utilize, right? Like, okay, yeah, there were definitely like cool releases on Wii U, but you weren't going to bring the Wii U if you had the option to bring your PS4. The Switch is so compact and so multifaceted. You are going to bring that thing with you no matter what. Mm-hmm. So even if it is smaller titles sort of powering the things through till E3, you're going to have it, and that access I think is really critical. The fact that it is like a maybe not as definitely not as necessary as a mobile phone, but can become something that's part of like your person. Like what I mean is like what you carry on your person, right? When you go out or wherever you go, the fact that it can become part of sort of that arsenal or that setup, that daily.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, like that really helps.
I can totally see like myself, like even like if I had to go pick up my little brother from school and he's 15 minutes late, like having it in the passenger seat, just picking it up and playing it, and like so just kind of utilizing every little space available that you want to be playing a game, you can.
And we could have said that about DS, 3DS, Vita,
but
Game
this
Boy.
is like a full system,
right? And that's the big distinction is like it is huge, and I think. Before launch, I was very bummed that Mario was holiday and Zelda was March. And now I'm so glad that it happened that way. I think Breath of the Wild takes advantage of the Switch so much better. And I think it showcases and highlights for people, and even for myself, the power and the benefits of the Switch far better than a Mario title would. No speaking on the comparison of the games in terms of them as quality products, or which I like better, which is better.
You don't even know what it is.
Exactly. Well, I'm saying more. I think the pick up and play... pick up and take with you nature of Zelda, because it is this open world, because you can explore because you can just, kind of go at your own pace. I think that it really is so conducive to the Switch. Then you have the other side of the coin, which is it's this massive world that is much more impressive to take on the go than Mario levels. Because Mario levels would be great for grab and go gaming, but I don't think they'd have the same like holy crap factor. I've seen people take photos of people playing like Zelda on a plane, and they're still impressed, and it still impresses me. And I'm so glad and grateful that it turned out as well as it did. There are some issues. I hope they're fixed, but I feel really great. That being said, we want to know how your hype was met, how your expectations were met. If you have a Switch and you have thoughts on this, definitely let us know in the comments below. Were you someone who was super high in the system and now feel just as strongly? Were you somebody who was skeptical and worried but now are blown away by the potential and the possibilities and the actuality of the system and its play? Or were you murky and middle tiered on it and now you end up murky? Or were you high and now you're low? Either way, we want to know. Definitely converse with us, discuss with us in the comments where you're at and how the Switch lived up to the hype for you guys. Any final closing thoughts from us?
I'm just excited to play on the plane ride home.
Time to get back to switching.
Yeah, the plane Switch is possibly my favorite experience. And for me, I love the split Joy-Con game.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
It's great for the plane.
No, I'll just use the grip.
Because like you can be so flexible with your arms. People are like leaning up on you, or people are crowding your space.
No one is gonna lean up on me on the plane.
You're just gonna bow those elbows out and throw that grip down.
Yes.
Great. We hope that all of you do not sit next to Gabe and his big elbows. But until next time, everyone, thanks for watching. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Hit that notification bell if you want to stay up to date on all the hype and highlights from us and Switch. Until then, though, thanks again for watching. Switch Force out.